Assuming that somebody will take initiative is the dumbest, most obscure hiring requirement you think that somebody could possibly have.
Okay, so welcome to Manage Chaos Podcast, where we give you the startup business rundown in less time than it takes for you to get to work. I'm Katrina Purcell, and today we are joined in our second episode with Faith Morris. Super excited to have Faith on the podcast. She's a strategic second brain who shows up with a whiteboard, a plan, and a snack. And that snack is very important because tackling ops problems does make you pretty hungry. But Faith, today's episode is one that I think everyone needs to hear because I don't know about you, but I'm guilty of this even in my own house of don't touch my washing machine. But every founder has uttered this dangerous phrase of, it's just faster if I do it myself, right? So why is this mindset sort of the exact reason that we end up with this graveyard of half-finished projects? And why does delegating feel so painfully hard?
First of all, it is true in the moment, right? You are faster.
Yeah.
You do know it best, but that's what makes it really sticky. And what is true today is ultimately a longer term problem that you're feeling. And I can do it myself. I'm the only one who can do it. It's not flex. I don't know where we got that, like, it's a flex. People want me. That's your ceiling because you cannot scale a business. You can't grow a business when everything lives in your head and you're unwilling to either bring somebody in to help support you and train them, or you accept, this is my ceiling. This is where I'm at, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. Everybody wants to have their cake and eat it too, and you can't.
A lot of the founders I work with, it's sort of this, well, I'm the only person I trust to get this repeatable outcome.
Why?
Right? And that part drives me crazy because if you know what the repeatable outcome is, let your team have some creative license over how they get to the outcome, but just hold them accountable for the outcome.
Absolutely. And a gap that happens in that is that people have not trained their team well. And I will say, trust, when you have built a brand and a business, let's just acknowledge that, yes, people are buying from you and people are buying your skill, your strategy, what you have built, right? They trust you in that. But people also have to understand and accept that you and your business is going to evolve. And the biggest gap that I see is it's really easy to be like, let your team do this, but also here are the steps to help your team do these things. Because actually some people aren't a good fit to help duplicate that repeatable outcome. Or again, you have certain standards that you've never communicated to your team that, yeah, they can do the repeatable outcome, but now you're also trying to say, I have a standard for that, and I didn't communicate that standard. Great, how would they know? This is where people are bringing in people too early, prematurely, not trained well enough, and not onboarded well. And that's where a huge gap happens, where you're wondering why you're sitting on a beach in the Bahamas, but your team is still pinging you for things. Why are my fingerprints still on it if I've delegated this or whatever? Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And I think one of the situations where I come into businesses is they say, oh, we have all this hiring we need to do. And I say, great, what does your onboarding process look like? And they're like, they look at you with those why, what do you mean? We can't be hiring if we don't know how we're onboarding. It's not let's think about onboarding after we've already identified the candidate. They've already started work and now we figure out how to train them.
I would even take it a step further. Some people come to me, they have an onboarding system, great, but they have created no culture for their business. They don't have a mission for their business. They have no values. They have no welcome packet for people of, hey, this is how we operate. And these are the cultural beliefs that we have within our business, which ultimately creates a behavioral change if it's not a fit. Like you can teach anybody to do a task, set them up in that way, but is somebody a culture fit for your value and your missions and what you're bringing forth in your business? And I always tell my clients, everybody wants to talk about referrals for their business, like for work. I want people to talk to other people about working for me and being obsessed with working for me. Like, oh, you want to join the Faith Morris team. Like being part of this team is X, Y, and Z. I want referrals like that. I want a wait list for people that want to work for me because of the culture I've created in my business that sets me up for success and my team up for success outside of just tech. And sometimes that piece gets missed because people just want to grow and scale and they're doing their offers and all these things, but they have never spent the time to build out their mission, vision, and values for their business. And the greatest piece of advice that my dad ever gave me was, it is my job to cast forth a vision for people and invite them in. And it's their job to accept or not. But my only job is to cast forth that vision. And if they choose to come in, great. And if not, that's okay.
Oh, I love that. So one of the things that you do to help people through this minefield of half done and building momentum is a 6-week sprint, an implementation sprint. How do you structure it so that the founder doesn't just end up doing all that heavy lifting themselves and really burning themselves out in that 6 weeks?
We underestimate, again, when you are overwhelmed, the amount of mental tabs that are open. And specifically, if you are a solopreneur or you're a solopreneur with a lean team where everybody's already at capacity, you don't have somebody to, one, help you organize these half-done projects or things that need to get done, and have a partner in completing them, as well as a babysitter. And I always joke that if we all just admitted we needed babysitters in different aspects of our business, we would all be millionaires, because we all need accountability in different parts, and you are paying for accountability. So the way that my 6-week sprint is, when I meet with somebody, again, they come with overwhelm, and usually in very many different categories. My client experience needs all this work. I know I need the hiring process for new contractors as I build up my agency. I actually want to shift my marketing strategy. So we have all these half-done projects. So we map them out over the course of 6 weeks. And the rules of my sprints are one topic per week, because the visionaries I work with love to hop around. So they start on one project and then maybe naturally weaves into something else. And I am the keeper. So I'm like, love that. We're going to move that to week 3. But this week, we're only talking about your client journey. That's all we're talking about and working on. Okay. Mm-hmm. Next week, great. We're going to look at where you're showing up. Where's your visibility? What's worked? What hasn't? But don't talk to me about your hiring issue. We're going to talk about that in week 4. And then they have access to me during the week, where I go in, I do a little bit of homework in terms of maybe creating drafts for them to overlook. They're doing homework. They have to do some uploading of contracts and different parts that I might need. It's a done with you strategy and implementation. And then we do some weekly in between mentoring.
Okay, I love that. And I love the desire for extreme focus, because I think that's actually how everything gets to be half done, because there's this shiny object syndrome.
If you think everything's 911, my job is to say, no, don't worry, no one's going to die if we move this to next week, right? And it's just a 6 weeks of very intense focus. And the goal is, after the end of those 6 weeks, you have momentum and you feel really excited about your business again.
So what is the secret to giving the team real ownership over a project, rather than them just waiting around for the founder to either make a final call or make a final decision? I'll give you an example. I have one founder who said, I love this. And in his mind, that was go forth and do it. And 2 weeks later, the person said, we still don't have his final approval. I'm like, he said he loved it.
Interesting.
Take the ownership. Have fun.
So
implement it.
Saying, I love this. And that was him saying, oh yeah, go do it. Yeah. Assumptions. And I believe every single founder should have, depending what the role is, for everybody, these are our communication standards, but depending on the role, this is what can be elevated without me, and these are the things that need to be elevated with me. When I work with my clients, we look at the tasks they keep. The keep is everything I do myself, nobody touches. Co-create, they need my sign off. And the third column is delegate. I don't need my hands on this at all, right? Yeah. The communication breakdown happens when you have it in your head. And so you, even when you train them or onboarded, or again, I see it a lot where people onboard and train so well. They did it so well, but they actually have no follow-up meetings. They don't have a 30, 60, 90. They don't have weekly check-ins. Hiring well takes time. The first 3 months, the first 6 months, really, people are getting to know you and the culture of your business and how you work. That doesn't happen overnight. And a big part of that is assuming they know what language you use that means something else, right? And some of that is trial and error. Oh my God, okay, now I need to tell them, but now I also need to go update my handbook or update my standards to say, hey, just an FYI, like when I say this, that means that. You are responsible for communicating your boundaries, how you work, like all of that is on you. Nobody else is responsible for that except you. But I would say you hope to hire people that will ask questions before it's 2 weeks later, right? And that's another assumption, like, oh, they should have just asked. Why should they have? That's a you problem. And that's a conversation in mentoring that you can have with them to say, hey, next time something happens like that, we don't wait more than 3 days. Ping me. We have to reset expectations for those type of things.
Yes, if you're confused or you feel like there wasn't clear direction, follow up.
Yeah, and people think it's crazy that has to be written somewhere, but it does, guys, right? Like it does. I have people put this in their handbooks and go over with them on a first call. If you're confused about something, we always ask. And there's never judgment, no questions too stupid, but we wait no longer than 3 days to ask. You have to do that because assuming that somebody will take initiative is the dumbest, most obscure hiring requirement you think that somebody could possibly have.
Okay, so tell us, what's the thing you've had the hardest time delegating?
That's such a good question. That is such a good question. Hardest thing that I have a hard time delegating, definitely content ghostwriting. So I currently show up on 2 platforms, LinkedIn and Threads. That's where you can find me most. Let's talk about Threads. It's a short form. There's certain parts of my brand that feel very, very personal. And Threads is where I started. And that feels very hard to let go of because I feel like my voice on there is so distinct. It's so real. People would know if it wasn't me. That's how it feels. Now, it's not to say that I won't ever do it. I'm definitely not ready yet. And I have the capacity to still manage it. But it definitely feels like the hardest. That would have to be as I grow my business. That falls on the I don't need to be doing that. And I need to let somebody else do that, right? Yeah. I'll tell you the easiest was design. I hate design with more than anything in my body. And the minute I could afford to hire a designer ad hoc or on retainer, oh my gosh, click, click, click. I was like, take my money, take all of it. Easiest and best hire because it actually choked me up the most in doing things because I'm such a perfectionist.
For me, it's the hardest thing is anything related to my brand voice or anything that I feel like is very personal to me. The easiest thing was the editor for the podcast because I can't watch back the episodes and listen to myself and see myself and just edit it. So even though I have the skill to do it, it's not worth it. We would never drop an episode. I would be like, I looked funny there. Let me see.
Yeah.
Easiest money that goes out the door monthly is the podcast editor.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Christina.
Shout out to Christina. We love you.
All right. I think the biggest takeaway for me is taking that list and really understanding what's important and then that extreme focus when you're prioritizing. So we'll leave that as a takeaway for our listeners. Thank you, Faith, for this episode. And we'll be back with 2 more episodes in this series. So make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you on the next episode.
Outsourcing your US tech talent shouldn't be hard. With Pobble.io, we deliver high-quality teams on demand and provide huge cost savings to your business. Try it now at Pobble.io. Mention the amazing guys at Manage Chaos when you email us and get a free market data report. Email contact@Pobble.io.